This video highlights policies and laws adopted by Sri Lanka to regulate highly hazardous pesticides, HHPs, and reduce suicide rates in the country. It contains content about suicide and self-harm that some people may find upsetting. Between 1980 and 2011, the Sri Lankan government banned 36 highly hazardous pesticides, primarily to reduce suicides in the country. This caused a staggering 70% drop in the annual suicide rate, and approximately 93,000 lives were saved over 20 years. These bans were also economical for the government, costing under $50 to save each life. Why ban these highly hazardous pesticides? In the 1980s and 90s, Sri Lanka had one of the highest suicide rates in the world. Pesticide poisoning accounted for more than 70% of all suicidal deaths. Research over the years has shown that people living in rural farming communities consumed pesticides in moments of crisis as an act of self-harm, having no or less suicidal intent. However, they died because of the high toxicity of the pesticide. Just a spoonful of some of these banned highly hazardous pesticides was enough to kill an adult. Men, women, and children were dying because of the potency and easy accessibility of the pesticides they consumed. It was not because they intended to die. The bans, therefore, were aimed at saving lives by restricting access to these highly hazardous pesticides. Through research, each ban was carefully designed to isolate the highly toxic ones from the others. At the same time, alternative pest control measures were identified and made available to farmers. This detailed approach saved lives without any impact on crop production. However, in 2021, the Sri Lankan government introduced a sudden ban on the import and use of all synthetic fertilizers and pesticides. There was no warning, no preparation, and no attempt to identify effective and available alternatives. Overnight, 2 million farmers were forced to go organic, resulting in a drastic fall in crop production and failed harvests. The country was driven to import staple foods, and food prices soared, causing economic chaos. So what went wrong? Studies have shown that transitioning to organic agriculture takes around 5 years. During this period, farmers are trained to use ecological controls of natural predators, cultural practices, mechanical traps, and barriers to protect their crops without excluding biopesticides or low-toxicity chemicals. Sadly, these alternatives were not available to Sri Lankan farmers in April 2021. Sri Lanka was once an example because of its successful pesticide policies, demonstrating how thousands of lives can be saved without affecting agriculture. However, these policies are now often seen through the lens of this ill-conceived ban of 2021, causing confusion on the need for proper pesticide regulations to save lives. Some claim that pesticide regulations damage the economy and, therefore, should not be implemented in other countries. Further, that organic farming is an ineffective method of protecting crops. However, evidence shows that when bans on highly hazardous pesticides are implemented correctly, lives can be saved without damaging the agricultural economy. Sri Lanka's policies to restrict access to deadly pesticides to reduce suicides remain a remarkable success story. Banning highly hazardous pesticides saves lives. If you have been affected by things raised in the video, please take a moment to reach out for support. Find a local helpline at www.findahelpline.com.